Cam Ward's performance against the Saints had a lot of special plays and some scary ones too. But the Tennessee Titans need to lean into who Cam is as a player, not try to tone it down. I'll explain on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, on today's show, we are going to look at Cam Ward's performance against the New Orleans Saints because there was a ton of special plays that are hard to find in the NFL, but also there were some scary things that Ward definitely needs to work on as he grows throughout his career, but those things that I think Cam needs to work on can be helped by the Tennessee Titans and the way that they build the roster. We're going to talk about all of that. Before we dive in, I do want to thank you for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one. The Tennessee Titans season is almost over, but the most important time of the year is right around the corner. We got a Tennessee Titans head coaching search. We're going to have free agency. We're going to have the draft. If you want to stay as up to date, as informed, as entertained as a Tennessee Titans fan possibly could be, make sure that you stay locked in with me here on the Locked On Titans podcast. But again, Cam Ward was absolutely special. Now, I'm going to go through the good and bad of this performance, but the point of this performance, in my opinion, and the way that it was yesterday, and immediately after I felt after the game, the good far outweighed the bad in this one for Cam Ward, in my opinion. Like, the special plays that he made outweighed any of the issues that I saw from him in this game. Now, does that mean that you throw the issues away entirely and you don't worry about them at all? Absolutely not. That's not the way that it works. But the reality with Cam Ward throughout his career and his style of play, and I told you guys this a couple of months ago, I told you after he was drafted, I'm going to continue to remind folks, Cam Ward is a gunslinger. We have seen this type of quarterback before in the NFL. We have seen a Brett Favre, a Baker Mayfield. Patrick Mahomes is probably the best version in NFL history of a playmaker, a guy who may make some risky plays, but he's going to make some absolutely special plays that you just can't find in your average everyday quarterback in the NFL. And that's exactly what we saw from Cam Ward against the Saints. He made some strange plays that were turnover worthy, and we'll talk about them, but the special plays are so special and so rare and so unique. It's unbelievable the things that he was able to do out there. He's a magician. Again, I continue to call him, he's the one. He's Neo in the Matrix. He's the Matrix to me. Like, he can see the code and he can find his way through it. Does that mean everything's perfect? Does that mean that he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now? No, but this special ability, the things that he can do well. There's an old adage in scouting, and it's tell me what the player can do, not what he can't do. Because when you look at players and you just say what they can't do, you're going to lose a lot of value based on things that guys can do very well. So don't tell me what Cam Ward isn't good at. Show me what he is good at. And what he is good at and what we saw in this game, again, it's so special, it's so rare, it's so hard to find. It is the special talent that separates quarterbacks in the NFL. That second reaction, that playmaking ability where when the play breaks down, can you do something about it? And Cam Ward not only can do something about it, he might be one of the best players in the NFL already. He might be top 5, top 10 already in those second reaction, off-schedule playmaking situations. Probably top 10. Let's be conservative here, to be honest. But I'm just saying, he already has shown that he has this special ability that's rare, and not only is it rare to find, but we have seen over and over and over again in the NFL that special ability that Cam Ward has is the difference maker for a lot of teams in the big-time moments in the NFL. Like, Jalen Hurts is not a great quarterback. Like, in sitting in the pocket, the classic sense of the quarterback, but Jalen Hurts is clutch, makes big plays in big moments, uses his legs to pick up first downs, and he's a better runner than Cam Ward is. But the point is, I would say that Cam Ward, not that much different than a guy like Jalen Hurts when it comes to, I would say Cam Ward might even be better than Jalen Hurts at just sitting in the pocket and delivering, especially with the way the Eagles' offense has looked. I mean, there are some crazy stats out there about not completing passes in the second half and down the field and all these. The point I'm making is not to disparage Jalen Hurts or compare the two or anything, but the point is that yes, it would be great to have a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady style guy who could sit in the pocket and have pinpoint accuracy and precise, but that's not necessarily what wins because there aren't a lot of guys left like that in the NFL right now. You need guys who can make those special plays when the play breaks down. And now, quite frankly, the play breaks down too much for the Tennessee Titans because the offensive coaching is not great. There aren't guys who are creating separation. There are a lot of guys who just simply are not open when Cam Ward has to go make some of these plays and make things happen. That's just the reality of this situation. And my film breakdown on Cam Ward that's going to be out on the Tic Tac Titans YouTube channel tonight on Monday night after this podcast drops at 6 p.m. Eastern is going to show the plays that we're talking about. But I mean, 4 big-time throws in this game from Cam Ward. The deep crosser to Chim Dike early in the game where he's fading away from the safety, going to the right-hand side. The corner route on the PA bootleg to Van Jefferson on the sideline, perfectly between the corner and the safety. The shot, 63 yards in the air. He throws it from the 35-yard line all the way to the 2-yard line in the air to Chim Dike that draws the defensive pass interference. 63 yards in the air. And again, the arm talent is there. That is good enough arm talent to do anything. Now, the accuracy, that has to be worked on, and we'll talk about that. But just the velocity to throw it down the field, he can make any throw that you want to make. The bomb to Mason Kinsey, and again, on that one, he's rolling out because nobody is open. He gets all the way to the sideline, and Mason Kinsey finally turns up the field and goes vertical, and he delivers a perfect pass right to him. Right to him. Then the playmaking. Rolling out to the right. He waits for Van Jefferson to clear the window where the linebacker is waiting in front of him, and he stares the linebacker off, and at the last second flips his head, throws it to Van Jefferson for a 10-plus yard completion. Hits Io Manor in the red zone on the corner route. David Martin Robinson on the sideline where he's rolling out, and he's just standing there waiting, and he's just waiting for somebody to cut back inside, and finally David Martin Robinson cuts back to the inside. He hits him, first down, keep the chains moving. 2 throws where he goes through the middle, creates space and time, and hits Alec Io Manor over the middle. One was complete, one was incomplete late in the game. The one on 4th down at the end of the game where his knee was ruled down. I mean, his knee was ruled down, but what an incredible play to get back and then shoot up. Like, the ability to play make, the ability to buy time in the pocket even when there's pressure, when the play isn't there. And if you have listened to this podcast for any amount of time, then you know that my football philosophy is I want guys who can make plays when the play doesn't work. Wide receivers, I want contested catch guys over separators. Give me guys who, even when they are covered, they're going to go up and make plays and catch the football. Even when a guy is on their back, they're going to catch the slant, break a tackle, and take it to the house. Yeah, it's great that you can separate and get open. That's great. But what about when the defense calls the perfect coverage? What about when it's the red zone and there is no space to separate? Can you go make a play? What about when it's sandlot and Cam Ward's rolling out to the right and he's on the sideline and nobody's open? Can he throw it up to you and can you go make a play for him? When the pressure's on, can he toss it up? And can you make a play? We're going to talk more about this when I talk about what the Titans need to do to help Cam Ward with some of his concerns. But at the end of the day, give me the guy who can make the play when the play breaks down. When the 3-level flood concept against zone still isn't there because the defense covers it perfect. When it's cover 1 man and they bring 5 and there's pressure on you, but the man coverage is tight. Do you have a quarterback that can make a play? Do you have a quarterback that can save the day and put on the cape? The Tennessee Titans do. The Tennessee Titans do have a Superman quarterback who has special abilities that are rare and hard to find. And then you start to look at just some of the general stuff of Cam Ward's play. 4 straight games of multiple touchdown passes. He's the number 1 overall pick quarterbacks. He has the longest streak in the NFL since 1970, besides Baker Mayfield, who did it 5 straight games in 2018. And Cam could do it 5 straight games if he throws for 2 touchdowns against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. And then he would be tied with Baker Mayfield for the longest streak of multiple touchdown passes in a game as a rookie number 1 overall pick since 1970. That's 55 years, right? 1970, 70 to 20, that's 55. Well, it's about to be 56. Quick math, okay? And you add in this, saw a stat from Nick Suss from the Tennessean, I think, 4 straight games of 2+ touchdown passes with only 1 interception or less. Only 3 rookie quarterbacks have done that. Russell Wilson and Dan Marino. So you look at the film and you see the special plays that Cam Ward made in this game. You look at some of the trends of how he's played since the bye week and some of the streaks and names that he's being mentioned with. Again, there may be issues and there may be concerns with Cam Ward, and he showed us all of them in this game with some of these scary plays that he made. But the special outweighs the scary. That is my synopsis on Cam Ward's rookie season. The special outweighs the scary. And the special that Cam Ward brings to the table can be a massive difference maker in the NFL. That is what's important to me. What can he do? And we'll work on the other stuff. And when we work on the other stuff, that starts with knowing what we need to work on and then having a good plan to work on it. And I think we know what we need to work on, and I think we know what the plan needs to be going forward. And quite frankly, it's something that I mentioned to all you guys a couple of months ago. Do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business with the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is an all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save me hours every week, and knowing you can reach a certified HR expert anytime gives you real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months free. Payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast, breaking down Cam Ward's performance against the New Orleans Saints. Again, we got a lot of special and we got a lot of scary in there as well, but I think that makes for a good conversation about where Cam Ward is at in his career going forward. But I want to talk about some of the scary stuff because we talked about the special throws, the playmaking, the big-time throws down the field, the improvement since the bye, some of the statistical streaks. But make no mistake, everything that makes Cam Ward scary was on display in this game. First off, the turnover-worthy plays. Now, the interceptions haven't been out of control for Cam Ward. He has cleaned up the fumble issues that he had early on in the season. Again, before the bye, he had 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a ton of fumbles. And since the bye, he has 1 interception, 11 touchdowns, and has had 2 fumbles. Okay? Now, the Chase Young fumble, I think, is a bad example of a good point. I said this yesterday on the show after the game, but I think that Chase Young ripping that ball from Cam Ward's hands as he backs up in the pocket is not necessarily Cam Ward's fault 100%. Now, it's a turnover-worthy play. He struggles with ball security issues in the pocket. Those are real, okay? That's fair. J.C. Latham got beat like a drum on the play by Curtis Granderson And there was pressure right in Cam Ward's face, so he backed up, and as he backed up, Dan Moore was pushing Chase Young past the pocket. That's not a bad job by Dan Moore. Cam Ward backed up really far because of the pressure in his face from Granderson. He kind of had no choice because Granderson was right in front of him. He couldn't go forward. He had to back up to keep the play alive. It was that or sack. But the reality is, it's also fair to say Cam needs to hold the ball a little more securely in the pocket. He had it in one hand, leaning backwards. It was easy for Chase Young to rip away. But my real point with that play is, while Cam Ward has a ball security issue that he must improve, specifically with the fumbles in the pocket, I don't think if you made a list of the most egregious fumbles Cam Ward's had to showcase that point, I don't think that this one with Chase Young should be high on the list of examples. I think you could leave this one on the cutting room floor. Like when I make my film breakdown after the year and talk about Cam Ward's ball security issues, I'm not going to use this play, I don't think. Maybe I will as B-roll or something, but like there are more egregious examples of this issue with Cam Ward. But nonetheless, it is an issue going forward, and it was on display in this game. His biggest issue is probably the fumbles in the pocket, and we got an example, at least. Even if it's a bad example, it is an example nonetheless. Outside of that, early in the game, he's late to Chigakonkwo on an in-breaking route in front of the safeties on cover 4. He could have dumped it off to Tony Pollard on the right-hand sideline in a check down. He decided not to and to go big play hunting. And then he almost fumbled the ball backwards. Okay, the refs called it an incomplete pass, but the ball went backwards. And I was scared. Okay? That was a terrifying play. That's a turnover-worthy play. It may not have turned into a turnover, but what are we doing there? Just throw it out of bounds. I would have rather him been on time to Chigakonkwo through the progression. I would have rather him dumped it off to Tony Pollard for a 2-yard gain on the right-hand sideline. It was 2nd and 10. It wasn't 3rd down. You didn't need to do that. Just take your profit, And that's part of, these big plays that we talked about in the first segment where he's rolling out and he's buying time and he's making plays. Like, this is the other side of that sword. And I've mentioned players like Brett Favre, like Patrick Mahomes. You want to go the bad way, you could say like Jay Cutler. Good example of a player. Josh Allen was like this early in his career as well. But you have ups and downs with these players where they always want to make the big play, and dialing it in is really the difficult part, is when do you go make the play? When do you stop? But outside of that, the fake wide receiver screen where he still lobs it up down the sideline, like if that, we're lucky that Alontae Taylor jumped up and dropped it because number 29, the cornerback, was coming behind him. And if Alontae Taylor wasn't there, the cornerback was going to pick it off and go the other way. Like that was, just check it down to the wide receiver screen that was the fake because all the defensive backs backed up. They didn't fool anybody. And he still tried to sneak it in from the opposite hash. Buddy, you don't have the arm to do that. I mean, what are we doing here? Just take the check down. This wasn't a 3rd and long situation. You didn't fool them. Don't try to risk it. Throw it to the wide receiver screen that you faked and just take your couple of yards and keep going. That was a bad decision and too risky, going big play hunting, wanting something more than what's there. The late dump off to Gunnar Helm that almost turned into a pick 6 going the other way. He was just late. And then he panicked, and that was like the pick 6 that we saw against the Indianapolis Colts early in the year. He just panicked, and he was late to his check down, and it was man coverage, and he threw it anyway. You got to be quicker than that, or you got to be more aware than that. That's something getting through his progressions on time. That will naturally get better, you would think, with a young player in his first year. Then the almost interception on the sideline. He's going to James Prochet. I would love to not throw to James Prochet ever again in Cam Ward's career. Can we have better wide receivers than James Prochet for Cam Ward to throw to as one of his top 3 wide receivers? That just can never happen again, right? But nonetheless, it was a terrible throw, and if the cornerback was a wide receiver, it would have been an interception. He just wasn't good enough at tapping his toes. So that's 5 turnover-worthy plays, and as a matter of fact, that is the most turnover-worthy plays of any quarterback in the NFL this week going into Monday Night Football. His time to throw was over 4 seconds because he was just holding the ball and waiting and trying to make plays. It looked like Cam Ward in college. It was basically Cam Ward at Miami, where he just didn't care. He had protection. He's going to hold the ball as long as he wants. And a lot of that turned into special plays. But again, a lot of that turned into scary plays. And outside of those real obvious, like, oh, that should have been a turnover, like, he was late to Io Manor on the third down, or they were off in some way. I don't know that I can blame him for that. We'd have to know if Io Manor didn't run the route depth right, and it should have been shorter. But earlier, later in the game, he goes to Chim Dike on a crossing route over the middle where there are two guys in a zone on him, and the backside, it's one-on-one on both, and Gunnar Helm is cutting in for an easy completion that would have moved the chains. Cam just got a little rushed and went to Chim automatically, made the wrong read. He had a miss to Van Jefferson on a deep post that was wide open, and it's one of those plays where he extended it and then eventually threw it away because it wasn't there. But if he just makes the read and hits Van Jefferson on the deep post where he's wide open, beating his man deep, that could be a big play or a pass interference or something. He had two bad throws to Chigakonkwo, one on a seam where he was way behind him, one on a throw that went out of bounds. The sideline missed to Prochet, not the one that was an almost interception, but he had another one of those deep balls on the outside sideline that went way out of bounds. Again, the accuracy, the ball control, the progression speed. Those are the three key areas where Cam Ward must improve as his career continues. Okay? Now, with the accuracy, I think it's a footwork thing and his mechanics. He works hard to clean that up. I think that will improve. The ball control, I think, is just a mental focus and an adjustment to the speed of the game thing, and he got better in the second half of the season with that aspect. I think that'll be fine. The progression speed naturally comes from not being a rookie anymore, feeling more comfortable, seeing every coverage, seeing different route concepts against those coverages, and there will still be a learning curve with that as a new offense is installed this offseason. But at the end of the day, it's going to be easier to not be a rookie and understand how to get through that. And it's not just how quickly you get from 1 to 2 to 3. It's being able to recognize, oh, we got this coverage. My 1 isn't even going to be there. I'm going to go to 2 immediately. Oh, based on how the routes are distributed, I know that 3 isn't going to be there, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and just immediately get to the check down. It's not just, hey, these are my progressions. It's how quickly and how much you can eliminate during the play and pre-snap. So Cam Ward's going to get better with all that stuff. And quite frankly, the Tennessee Titans need to help him as well. It's not just on Cam Ward. It's on the Titans as well to help Cam Ward. And we're going to talk about what they need to do that. And again, it's something that I've been talking about for a few months now. Do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge, but with Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down, and Prize Picks lets you stay in control. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player stats. So no drafting, no waiting. You just pick more or less and play your way. Getting started on Prize Picks is quick, it's simple, the app is super easy to navigate. It makes watching games more engaging, especially when you have individual player performances to follow. I love the flexibility options, like they have a flex play where you can still get paid even if one of your picks misses. They have a new early payout feature that's a game changer. If a player starts hot, you can cash out before the game ends. Again, you just pick 2 to 6 players and say more or less, and you can win. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about Cam Ward's bipolar performance against the New Orleans Saints. We saw all of the special, but we saw all of the scary as well. Now, the special outweighed the scary, in my opinion, and that will be key with Cam Ward's archetype as a player going forward. And with that in mind, the Tennessee Titans need to help Cam Ward based on the style of play that he has, because they need to lean into his special qualities, not try to tone them down. But with that being said, before we talk about what they need to do to help him, I do want to thank you again for making Locked On Titans your first listen, and thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. But I have been saying this for a few months now, and I think it's been proven out throughout the season, throughout the good and the bad with Cam Ward. Cam Ward is a gunslinger. Cam Ward is not a precision pocket passer. He's going to play make. He's going to hold the ball. He's going to make risky throws. He's going to make risky plays. He's going to make risky decisions. He's going to put the ball in harm's way, but he's going to do some crazy special things that only certain people can even do. And I think that the Tennessee Titans need to understand and acknowledge and prepare for Cam Ward's deficiencies as a player. Cam Ward is not a perfect quarterback, nor will he ever be. And I don't know that a perfect quarterback exists. If you can't admit that, then we can't have adult, serious discussions about how to help Cam Ward and how he can get better and how the roster can support him. If you can't, it's like marketing. You know, when movies look at how things work, they look at male and female. They look at different races, who came out to the movie, who didn't come out to the movie. And in the industry, they call it a 4-quadrant movie. Those are the big blockbusters. Those are the ones who sell the most money. Now, if you can't acknowledge, hey, we didn't get a good female turnout. Hey, our audience was mostly 40 plus. We need to get more young people to want to come see the movie. Maybe we cast this young star who's big with the younger audience. If you can't have honest discussions about your deficiencies, you can't have honest discussions about how to fix things, how to make things better, how to improve. So if we're honest about where Cam Ward is deficient, okay, then we can be honest about how to build this roster around him and help him, because the Tennessee Titans, #1, need to get a smart offensive coach in here, which is why I still lean offensive coach when it comes to hiring the new head coach. I still lean offense, because a young offensive coach, or even an older, smart offensive coach, is going to make things so much easier for Cam Ward, give him so many more options. Right now, the Tennessee Titans don't have guys who can separate consistently in the back end of the defense, but they also don't have a coaching staff who is consistently scheming guys open against certain coverages either. So where you saw Tyler Shuck get really good opportunities, Cam Ward didn't have as many good opportunities in the second half because his head coach got outcoached in the second half after adjustments were made, whereas the opposite happened for the Saints, and a better head coach in Kellen Moore made things easier and attacked better and understood the Titans' coverages and So the Titans have to help Cam Ward, #1, by getting a coach. But again, as I talked about a couple of months ago, their wide receivers, their tight ends, their decisions they make in that regard with the roster need to help as well. The Titans and Cam Ward need big weapons. They need big-bodied wide receivers, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier in the show. I set it up for you, okay? A little foreshadowing. But they need big-bodied wide receivers with long arms, big hands, good in contested catch situations, great body control to adjust to the ball in the air on the fly, be able to adjust on the sideline and make toe-tap catches, have good hands and not have drop issues. They need guys like that. Because the reality is, Cam Ward's probably going to be a little behind, a little in front, a little to the left, a little here, a little there. The ball is going to tail a little, and you're going to have to fade back and adjust. And look, all quarterbacks have those situations, but Cam Ward isn't going to be like Joe Burrow or Tom Brady or these guys who are more pinpoint accurate players like Jared Goff, for example, in a clean pocket. Very pinpoint accurate with his ball placement. And I know a lot of you guys live by this. It hits the wide receiver in the hands, they better catch it. But the reality is NFL passing is more advanced than that. It's not just about if you throw the ball to your wide receiver's chest, Perfect pass right to his chest. Like any level would tell you, hey, that's a good throw. You got it right to the wide receiver's chest. In the NFL, that might be a bad throw because there's a safety bearing down on your guy over the middle of the field. And if you throw that low, instead of at the wide receiver's chest, if you throw it low, now the receiver can go low, slide to it, and they avoid a hit. Think about a back shoulder fade. You throw it to the back shoulder to the sideline. That's not a perfect accuracy to your chest pass like a coach would draw it up. But you're not right to the wide receiver's chest on purpose because that ball placement is the more accurate place to be to give the wide receiver a better chance to make the play. So ball placement is critically important in the NFL. It's not so simple to say it hits the wide receiver in the chest. He should catch. That's not maybe necessarily the right throw. So I don't think that Cam Ward is going to be a pinpoint accurate guy. He's a gunslinger who's going to get out of the pocket. He's going to play make. He's going to wait. He's going to extend plays. He's going to throw up little lobs to guys on the sideline and let them jump up and make plays and go get it. He's going to throw across his body back into the middle of the field into traffic. He's going to do that stuff. So you have to build the roster to help him. Yes, Cam Ward needs to improve in some of the areas we discussed. His individual improvement with his mechanics will make him more accurate on a consistent basis. Like going through his progressions, having bigger, stronger weapons with these things, having better weapons overall will help him because then there will be more guys open and he won't have to get through them as often. You know what I mean? But from a general standpoint, I think it's very, very important to get guys with these qualities because you have to support who Cam Ward is as a player. And if Cam Ward makes small improvements himself, and then the Titans support Cam Ward, that is how you make a special situation. It's not all on Cam Ward to get better. It's not all on the Titans to give him the answers and support him 100% to where they need to go. They have to go together. Cam Ward has to do his part and improve and put the work in. And the Titans have to do their part, but they have to recognize what the right path is to help Cam Ward. And yes, it would help to have separators. I'm not saying you don't want speed guys like a Zay Flowers who get open and stuff like that. Like you need that. But I do think that the Titans do need to make sure, and I think Gunnar Helm is one of these players. I think Alec Iomanor can be one of these players, but the ceiling may be limited there of what that can, and you can't just wait on Alec Iomanor to become that player. He has drop issues. He might just be a utility depth wide receiver, a wide receiver 3-4, which is what I talked about last week. I wouldn't say like, oh, don't go get, big physical wide receiver who can do these things I'm talking about because you have Alec Iomanor and he might become that. Like that's not, not the way I would see it. Now, there are wide receivers who do fit that bill who will be available in the draft or free agency. We'll talk all about that in the coming weeks and months and everything, so make sure you get subscribed. Stay subscribed, of course. But at the end of the day, again, this is something that I've been talking about for months. I think Cam Ward's style of play has enough special where you can win championships or a championship. I would be fine with one, quite honestly. Let's not look the gift horse in the mouth here. You could win a championship with Cam Ward because of the special things that he displayed in that game. But the scary things have to get worked on, and it's not just on Cam Ward to work on them. Honestly, it's more on the Titans to make sure that they cater to his skill set and who he is as a player. And I think the combination of the Titans doing their part, Cam Ward improving naturally as a player, and then the special things that are already there and on the table, that is enough for the Tennessee Titans to build a championship football team. And that, at the end of the day, is what we're all looking forward to. So with that being said, though, make sure that you check out my film breakdown on the Tic Tac Titans YouTube channel on Cam Ward, where I go over all of the plays that were very special and were also scary as well. It's going to be a lengthy one, folks. So check this out. Go over there to that and check that out. That's going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.